follows Jesus. Secondly, a disciple is formed by Jesus. A disciple is formed by Jesus. Look at the text. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And the ESV says, I will make you become fishers of men. It's this idea of birth here. In the language of the New Testament, that word make you or make you become is this idea of creating something. It's a long process. This is not a quick fix. And you and I both know spiritual maturity takes time, right? You know, you can't microwave a disciple. I wish you could. It's not a frozen dinner. It's a crock pot recipe. It takes time. Think how long God had to work on you and me, right? It's a long process. And so what happens is we see in this text that Jesus says, come follow me and I will make you to become. You know what he's saying? I'm going to form something in you. I'm going to grow in you something that you can't grow in yourself. It's this idea of sanctification, right? Us partnering with God as God grows us. Now, if we can't grow ourselves, Robby, then what are you saying? Well, we can't produce fruit, but watch what we can do. We can align ourselves in an environment where God can produce rapid fruit in our lives. Well, what do you mean? When I was a kid, believe it or not, I used to get picked on. I wasn't muscular or athletic. I used to get picked on. I think that's why years later I trained MMA fighting and things like I did. But I used to get picked on. And so I tried anything to help me to defend myself. And this movie was like a healing balm to my soul. Anybody remember this from the 90s? The crane kick. Remember the crane kick, right? With Mr. Miyagi, Ralph Macchio, Karate Kid. I mean, that was like a healing balm. And I practiced it like you did, right? How many people would admit they practiced that kick? But it's a beautiful kick. It just doesn't work at all. We know that. I mean, you're going to get beat up with that kick. I'm just telling you. That's a kick you're going to get beat. So I practiced the crane kick. And one of the things about the movie, if you remember, is that every time Danielson, Ralph Macchio, would go into the garage of Mr. Miyagi, remember this? He was always doing something. You remember what he's doing? He was snipping the what? The bonsai tree. Remember those little bonsai trees? Just a side note, the bonsai tree is a wonderful picture of discipleship that I bought one and tried to grow it. It died in 2 weeks. It's like the hardest tree in the world to grow because here's the thing about it. It's actually a larger tree. If you take the bonsai tree out of the pot that it's in and you plant that tree in a field, it will actually grow up taller. The DNA there is the same as a larger tree, but here's what constricts it: the environment. See, it's a beautiful tree. It has all the characteristics of a large tree, but it only grows this high because the roots can't go deep. Now watch this. Maybe the reason your spiritual life isn't what it is today, or what it should be today, is because of the environment you're growing in. See, the roots in your life can't grow deep because of the environment you're in. Therefore, you can't grow up and produce the kind of fruit that God expects in your life. See, I would say if you want to know your future, this is a great way to think of it. Take the sum total of your 5 closest friends. If you want to know your future, look at the people you're hanging with. If you want to soar with the eagles, you can't run with a bunch of turkeys, right? Jesus said, listen, I'm going to pull you guys in an environment here of exponential growth in a discipling relationship that over time you're going to be disciple makers who make disciples.